see if I got John here. This is John McAfee. And a lot of people may not know who John... Well, I would think that anybody that's somewhat newsworthy has heard of John McAfee. He's the guy that started the McAfee antivirus deal for your computer. He made like $1 zillion off that. And then he went to Belize and was partying and just being real good. You know, cool dude, a lot of money. And Belize got him all trumped up on some stuff. And then he was on the run for a little bit. I think he's back in America now. They're getting ready. Johnny Depp just signed on to do a brand new movie about him. So he's pretty much a pimp. And I think he is familiar with our show as well. And we've had John on before. Hello, John.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Boy, John, I got to tell you, you're 71 years old, but you sound pretty spry for 71. You sound like you're 51.
Well, yeah, I have a 35-year-old black wife. Trust me.
Hold on.
It keeps me on my toes.
You got Ned, does it get any more pimp than that?
That's pretty pimp.
No.
It doesn't get any. That's why Belize people didn't like you, because they were so jealous of you, because you're a straight pimp.
I am. I have to
I am.
By the way, I have a question. I always ask this. Are we being FCC regulated?
Yeah,
right?
we are. We're having to. Yeah, and
okay.
I don't like it. Sorry
about
that.
Okay. I mean, but here's the thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's such an absurd concept to ban a few words. I can shock people a lot more with phrases, or just a single word. Janice, my wife, is my reality translator. I was talking about Showtime and how I admired that show, and then she would come on and translate it in black speak,
Oh, so you'd be like rich white guy speak, and then she'd break it down for you.
That's right. She'd break it down for me, okay?
You know what, man?
So
this guy gets
that,
it.
I would say, every time she would translate, I'd say, thank you, man. And, thousands of people saw that. I didn't get one complaint.
Not
so
one.
I have the credit to do that, and yet that word shocks people, right?
And it's not one of the 7 banned dirty words.
And it's not one of the 7 banned, and yet I can shock people just as badly. I mean, the SEC is being ridiculous. Those words that it does ban, I can see on TV 100 times.
Well, I mean, the internet's the Wild West, and anybody. I mean, I actually think that kids have. I don't think you're protecting kids from anything, because I think that a radio is more archaic than the internet, and more kids have the internet on their phones than they do FM or AM transmit radios, and so that's more crazy.
Of course, it's insane. Anyway,
John, you've been on the show before. I love your swagger. I'd like to have you on, from time to time more often, just because, again, of the it factor. You're 71. You got a 35-year-old black wife. You're pretty cool. You were partying so hard in Belize, they had to Trump stuff up on you, didn't they?
Actually, they did. Yeah. It was an interesting time. So yeah, I was on the run for a month and a half, underground. The entire Army and police were looking for me. And they didn't charge me.
Yeah, but John, I got to think you being loaded have more money than the military of Belize. I got to be honest. That you single-handedly probably have more money than they do.
Well, yeah, possibly, but nevertheless, it was not a hard time. I was right next to the police station for a while. It was the safest place to be in Belize. And oddly enough, one of the people who was with me, of the world-renowned war photographer Robert King, who happens to be sitting across from me right now. He's over here from Germany visiting. And the senior editor from Vice magazine, Rocco Ricoro. I managed to take these 2 people, plus a 21-year-old girl, across the border into Guatemala and get us safely into Guatemala City, where I was then arrested. So.
Now, was it ever, by the way, John McAfee on the phone, there's a new movie that Johnny Depp's playing. He's got this new thing that he's doing in Washington, so we got a lot to talk about. But, John, at one time, again, Belize was looking for you the entire country. Was it touch and go at any time during that period?
Never. No, I had the whole thing wired. I really did. I mean, for example, I chose the day that we traveled from Belize City to the border of Guatemala as a rainy day, knowing that no policeman in Belize at all of these checkpoints is going to stand in the rain and check documents. And so we have photographs where we pass checkpoints with police sitting in their cars, waving people through.
No, but didn't Belize then, after they investigated it and you'd already left town, didn't they then come back? Even the president said that, that you're not really a suspect anymore, or they made a knee-jerk or something?
I was never a suspect. They wanted to question me like they questioned all of my neighbors. I chose not to be questioned, because questioning in Belize, they can keep you for 60 days.
Just to question you.
Just to question you. And another 60 days by simply filing a court request. So they can keep you forever.
Now, did the president or the mayor or whatever you lived, did they automatically not like you because you were a Johnny Rich guy?
Well, certainly. I was a white guy, too. I mean, number one, the prime minister of police is the most racist man I have ever met.
Right.
He literally does not like white people. I happen to appear white. Oh, by the way, I wrote the screenwriters about Johnny Depp saying I was very displeased because...
Now, why could by the way, Johnny Depp just signed on to do your new movie.
Yes.
And why are you not happy about that? That's kind of being a dick, John.
Well, of course it is. Now, come on, it's a joke. Listen.
Oh,
so I said, I'm not happy about Johnny Depp because I wanted Morgan Freeman. And to my knowledge, Johnny Depp's not even black. Now, this is how funny these screenwriters are. Kaczewski, one of the screenwriters, wrote back, and he had a link to Roots.com, where Johnny Depp really has black ancestors. And he said, I'm so disappointed in you, Mr. McAfee, for not doing your research. Mm-hmm. So I wrote him back and said, whoa, okay, I am really sorry. So he actually is black, and I'm now pleased. So.
Now, when do they start production on this movie? By the way, I think it's called King of the Jungle. It's about your
King of the Jungle.
It's about your life, and they just a matter of like maybe yesterday or 2 days ago announced that Johnny Depp was the star. Now, that's a pretty big production. And when are they shooting it?
Shooting, I think, is going to start within 2 months, and they'll be finished by spring of next year.
Are you going to be like a consultant or on set or anything?
No one's offered me any money.
Well, how are they going to get the story? I mean, John, you're a perfectionist. You don't even want Hollywood to mess up. So, I mean, aren't you going to like demand to make sure it's right, or are you going to make them pay you?
Listen, you can't demand anything from Hollywood. Their lawyers are the best in the world. So, I think it'll work itself out. And in any case, I'd be willing to cooperate just for the fun of cooperating.
Now, what's this thing about you're doing something at the White House where you want naked people to show up and stuff like that, John? Are you really doing that?
Oh, absolutely, we are. You can read all about it at woodstocktowashington.com. This is my swan song. Think about what has happened. I mean, you're too young to remember Woodstock, or
Well, I'm right there on the verge, but
okay.
I was probably conceived in the Woodstock era.
You may have been. Well, I was actually at Woodstock. It was the pinnacle of the 60s.
Now, John,
dream.
how high were you on? Were you on mushrooms, LSD? Be honest. How high were you at Woodstock?
Okay, well, here's the old joke. If you can remember the 60s, you weren't really there. So, who knows? I would take pills just because people were taking them. Who knows what they were? Certainly, I felt a lot of acid, mushrooms, smoked more dope than the average person can carry. So, who knows? I think a little bit of everything.
Man, so don't you find this refreshing? A guy that's made zillions of dollars, he's 71, he's rolling around with a 35-year-old black woman, and he says, I did all this stuff, and I can't remember half of it.
He just owns it.
I love it, John. So now, so you were at Woodstock, and this thing's called woodstocktowashington.com, and
right.
So what it's all about?
Well, let me back up a little and explain the concept of civil disobedience. Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson jointly created this concept. And this was in the day before the Internet, before instant communication. And just 2 or 3 people gathered together managed to change, at least to a small extent, an entire nation through the concept of civil disobedience, meaning that if you believe that your body and your mind belong to you, then nobody else can possibly control what you do with those 2 things, provided you don't harm anybody. Think about it. It's my body. If I want to ingest any substance I want, who really has the right to tell me I can't? If I want to tattoo it, if I want to take my clothes off, and I was born naked and, will probably be dressed as I die, who knows? But this is my natural body. If you don't like it, please,
now, how many naked,
everybody...
It's called the Freedom March. You're encouraging people to strip naked in front of the Capitol buildings and demonstrate the profound truth.
No, it's not just strip naked. If you don't want to strip naked, don't. We're asking people who truly believe that they belong to themselves to do something about it.
Now, when's this going to be?
Go to Washington. We're not getting a permit because I know for a fact it will be denied, or even if we get one, it will be rescinded as soon as they find out.
So it's going to be like a flash mob kind of deal where you guys all talk about being here at a certain day.
There's 500,000 people in Washington. That's the population.
Right.
3,400 police officers. If 500,000 people show up and do what they want, smoke weed on the Capitol steps, was open an unlicensed hot dog stand, copulate on a sidewalk as long as you don't.
Boy, that's my kind of place. I can buy a hot dog, have
please.
sex, and get high.
And get high, absolutely.
John, listen. I'm not trying to be a dick.
I'm like
like so there.
Okay, but now here is the problem.
I don't know if I need to go nude though. I'm not really much to look at.
You don't have to.
Right. That's basically what Woodstock was. Except Woodstock was a rock concert and a love fest. Let's bring that to D.C. and make it a political movement. Because seriously, if 500,000 people showed up, I've run the math. No more than 6,000 to 7,000 of them can possibly be arrested, assuming we get 500,000 followers. So what we're doing is we're going to pay the bail and get lawyers for everybody who gets arrested. So you go onto the site, woodstocktowashington.com. Read it. See if you don't feel that what we're telling is the truth. We've lost our freedom in this country. Look at it. Everything is regulated, and yet you cannot regulate what a person does with or to his own body. Think about it. Well, alcohol, in Prohibition, did it stop alcohol? No. We had more drinking during Prohibition than in the entire history of the country.
John McAfee on the phone, of course, from the McAfee virus deal. John, how much, you were the first in on the antiviral deal, and then you were the first out as well. Somebody bought you out for a whole bunch of money, and you never had to worry about it again. And now somebody said you're doing phone apps and organic antibiotics, and you're really big into yoga.
Well, I used to be really big into yoga. At 72, my body doesn't particularly want to do it every day. But, yeah, I never stopped working.
Well, if you got a 35-year-old black wife, I'm thinking you better be pretty yogaed up, my friend, to keep up.
Yeah, that's a very difficult thing. You have, by the way, you'd have to be 70 years old to survive a black woman because it takes a lot of patience and wisdom. I'm telling you right now. I'm not trying to be a racist here. I'm just
have you guys had any kids?
She has 3 kids from prior fathers that I treat as my own. Well, they are my kids. I call them my own.
Now, do you have any children with your other wives?
Good Lord, you're asking a very difficult question.
Well,
yes, more than I can count, quite frankly. But I took care of them all.
Good.
So, and not just with my other wives, but just random women that happened through my life.
What woman were you with, and when you were in Belize? Were you with was the Belize governor mad because you were hooking up with the hot black girls?
Well, I was actually living with 7 women on the same property. I don't advise that. No, read the newspapers. For things like the Enquirer, it was a headline. McAfee, heroin.
25, you should have been hot Belize bitches gone wild by John McAfee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there were. You can look at them on the web. They were all gorgeous. The oldest one was 22.
Did you say the oldest was 22?
Yes. Okay. Please. Number one, the age of consent in Belize is next to nothing, and I wasn't a 15 or a 16-year-old girl. They were all. But actually, they were 18 or above. So now
that's okay.
I lived with 7 of them on the same property. It was a living hell. Can I say that word? Yes.
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. Literally. And I do not advise it for anybody.
Were they always sniffing around trying to get some? And, when you were 68, 67, you couldn't, you can't blast 2 or 3 times a day. It's pretty much one and done, ain't it?
Well, there's where the confusion comes in. See, for example, I would come home at night if I was on the mainland or something. All 7 of them would have cooked dinner for me. All right? Okay. And proudly sang. So what do? Okay, I would eat a bite here, a bite there. They were sort of fluid, so sometimes there would be 1 in my bed, and sometimes all 7. Now,
in your bed at one time.
Yeah, at least in the room, because 7 people, you'll find out.
Ned, we need to go to Belize stat, don't we, Ned? Now, can Americans travel freely to Belize, or is it tough to get in?
No, Americans can travel to Belize easily. They welcome you. But the problem is it's a very dangerous place, especially for those who are naive in the ways of the world.
Right.
You're likely to get drugs planted on you as you're walking or driving down the street in a golf cart. And it's very dangerous. It's sort of the murder capital of the world.
Why did you go to live there, John?
Well, first of all, it's the most beautiful place physically you can possibly imagine.
Right.
An offshore reef, a quarter of a mile offshore, jungles that are indescribably beautiful and thick. with Mayan ruins everywhere and rivers winding their way through it. So it's like heaven on earth. The problem is the people are still pirates. You know, it was the pirate haven, you know, in the 1700s and still is. So, you know, you have to understand human nature and trust no one, and just be careful.
And now you're living in Tennessee, aren't you?
I am.
I mean, you know, John, I'm assuming you've been a big California guy. I know that you're, you know, the Belize situation right in 7 Deep. And how do you get put in Tennessee?
Well, first of all, I was raised in the South in Virginia.
Right.
A very, very similar place. It's beautiful here. The people are very, very open, very friendly, much more honest than most of the world. I mean, if they don't like you, they'll say F off.
You know, Ned, and your pimp dollar's got to go farther with the bitches in Tennessee than it does, you know.
Absolutely. You know, you can buy 10 times as much here with 1/10 the money. And again, I like the honesty and openness of the people. They're friendly. You know, hang on. You know, it depends on how you want to define honesty. For example, I define prostitution as one of the most honest of all relationships between men and women, because you know exactly what you're getting. And if you're disappointed, either the talent was not good enough or you expected something more.
Maybe I should tell John my idea that I have, Manson, that they just stole in Barcelona, Spain.
I don't know.
Sure.
Oh, John,
Sure.
so there's these new sex dolls from Abyss Creations, and they're like $15,000, and they did Fox did a big thing on them, and they're unbelievable. They're like, you know, they got this interactive thing like Siri where they can learn your behavior, and they have, you know, you can order them the way you want and the whole 9 yards. And so anyway, I got on the air and I said, listen, you know, there's a lot of men out there that, you know, are losers and they can't get laid, and they may go out and do maybe bad stuff in this society or do, you know, perverted stuff or prey on women or something like that. But if we had a sex doll whorehouse where they could roll up in here and have, you know, order a girl and have relations with a woman, I think that would be almost a public like a public service to keep some weirdos off the street, and I think you'd make a lot of money on it.
Well, here's my advice. For $1,500, you can buy a ticket to Bangkok. And for the remaining $12,500, you can spend 5 years with the best prostitutes on this planet.
So, John McAfee on the phone,
yes.
Are you saying that Bangkok by far has the hottest, most economical prostitutes?
Oh, my good Lord, please. Yes, of course. Talk to any Australian or any South Pacific nation where all the men go to Bangkok to get real sex, cheap.
How much is it going for in Bangkok to be taken around the world?
Well, you know what? It depends on how clever you are as a negotiator.
Right.
What time of night you show up at the bar.
Quality, obviously quality.
Yeah, right. And quality. So, you know, if you know, for $500, if you're a good shopper, you can get 3 girls full time for a week.
What?
I'm telling you. And any one of those girls is going to be, if your scale is 1 to 10, and let's say the best sex you've ever had is a 9, these girls will be 20. I mean, I'm telling you, from the time they reach puberty, they are trained to please men, not just physically, but listening, looking in your eyes when you talk, listening, hanging on your every word.
Yeah, it never happens to me.
You know it's all fake, right?
Right.
You know it's the money. Nevertheless, what's wrong with that?
Doesn't make it feel any less good, right?
Oh, you bet.
So,
I tell you. Plus the shows in Bangkok. Unfortunately, we are FCC controlled, so I can't even begin to describe
that
it.
needs to be a whole other internet show, 25. We have John McAfee on, and we talk about the ins and outs of Bangkok, unedited.
Tell us about the different shows.
And by the way, it is no secret that my wife was a prostitute for 10 years, and I met her on the streets in Miami the day that I got extradited out of Guatemala back to America.
So you were passing in. You're like, listen, honey, I'll take you off the streets, but I just got out of Guatemala on a big high-class federal warrant deal.
Well, no, actually, she came up to me with another professional, a white girl,
right,
and asked if I wanted company. And I said, absolutely not. Why? Because I've been in a Guatemalan jail for too long. I wanted a good cup of coffee and a good night's rest.
But I'll call you tomorrow.
However, she said, well, can I have a cigarette? I gave her one, and pretty soon she was sitting there. After an hour, I said, I whispered, would you get rid of your friend? And we talked all night. We did not have sex for days.
Boy, Ned, that's a straight pimp. You got 2, and you tell the white girl to go home, and then you end up pimping on the black
He's a
girl.
baller.
This
and
is a straight baller.
and marrying her.
You're a straight baller, John McAfee. Straight
Well,
baller.
There it is. What can I tell you?
So, John, in closing, I was going to throw some names, because you're Mr. Say It Like It Is. I find you refreshing. You made $1 zillion on the internet. What if I spend some obviously, like what do you think about Bill Gates?
The most boring man on the planet, unfortunately.
You ever met him?
Yes. Before he became rich, he had just founded Microsoft. Yes. But honestly, I would drive a nail through my foot before I would have dinner with him. Now, Larry Ellison, on the other hand, fascinating dude. Nobody likes him. He's a maniacal egotist. But good God, he does whatever he wants. What's wrong with that?
How about Zuckerberg?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, his product, I'm not entirely sure, is good for people. But again, obviously, there are very few technologists I like. I loved Steve Jobs, and his loss was his
well,
great
you're very Steve Jobs-ish, like in the fact, like you're against the grain. You do it your way. You're unedited, and I don't know Steve, and I saw the movie though. But was Steve a lot like that? He was sometimes not the most popular guy.
No, he was definitely not the most popular, but I tell you, he was the most fun because his ideas were so out of the box. They were shocking, and he was himself. He never bathed. That was the only problem. If you did have dinner,
how about Warren Buffett?
Yeah. I've never met Warren Buffett, but I can't imagine he would be very much fun, unless you were an economist or a statistician, or wanted some tips on the stock market. But no, I can't imagine wanting to be around him.
John McAfee. Go ahead. No, go ahead, John.
Okay, well, are we over? Because I want one more.
No, hell, we're not over until I say it's over. We can go forever. I love you, John. I've always been a big fan of yours. You know that. John McAfee, 71. There's a new movie coming out. Johnny Depp starring in it. It's called King of the Jungle. You can also go to Woodstock to Washington.com. It's this big naked person / let's do what we want on Capitol Hill type party that John's supposed to throw. John, let me ask you a question. You obviously are a huge tech guy. You made most of your money with the McAfee virus thing. You sold out on that deal. You've done a lot of startup companies. You're into apps now. What do you and you probably would know, but what's the big controversy, or what is when they say that Alexa, can listen in on your stuff and it's just a way for the government to have a dibs on you? Is there a lot more technical, scary stuff that us Americans don't know that they're doing to us, or is it all a big, urban legend deal?
No, it's not an urban legend. And by the way, I'm CEO of MGT, Capital Investments, which is a cyber security company.
You guys want to diversify a little bit and buy a radio show? Because we could be your personal radio show, John. I'm just saying. We could be
that would be great, because I'm already starting my personal TV show. I've got a studio upstairs, and we had our first show last week.
We need to give you your own radio show, and you could pipe us in, we could just do, so we could basically be John McAfee's personal radio station.
The dream come true.
Yeah, but I could not live being on the strings of the FCC. That's my problem.
Well, no, we'll go on. I have an internet, BubbaArmyRadio.com. I've had an internet net stations for years.
That'd be perfect, because it's very difficult. Like right now, I may sound coherent, but I'm not me, because when I'm reading me, every sentence has some color in it, which the FCC says, no, that's way too colorful.
Well, yeah, like an F or a D or a T or a P or all that good stuff.
Well, listen, like I said, I have a black wife. I have learned language that you can't possibly believe. So,
we've got to have this guy on our internet show, don't we, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there you'll see the real me. I have to edit myself every second.
Me
right
too.
now,
I hate it over here.
Thinking,
it sucks.
Okay, FCC, I can't say this, and if I don't say that, then the sentence will not have the impact, so I'll have to replace another sentence. Right. That's really hard for me.
Yeah, this John McAfee isn't PG. You're like NC-17, maybe even R, maybe X.
I'm way in the X field. You have to believe me, okay? Well, I come out with stuff that even on the internet.
I want to go, John. Next time I talk to John, I want John hardcore mother effing McAfee, not this watered down one.
And then I will tell you blow by blow some of the shows that I saw in Bangkok.
How about next Tuesday? Next Tuesday. No, hold on. I'm serious. I have an internet show on. By the way, John, on this Tuesday show today, after I get done at 10 o'clock, we go over to the internet deal, and today I'm going to have to FCC this up, okay? But I got 3 porn stars, girl named a girl named Naughty Alicia, a girl named Miss Cleo, and another girl named Roxy Ray.
Oh,
and,
I've met all of them, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. And the two of them, they I got to see how I can say this. They when they're having a good time and they are feeling really good, they projectile something.
Oh, yes.
All right, so let's just keep it at that. That's just
I know it well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's been distance and things like that. But like when people do drag racing, it's you start and see who can.
Yes.
We're gonna do drag racing orgasmic deal. We'll see who can do it quicker in the firstest.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I can then talk about one show that I saw.
Well, I don't think we can talk about. I don't think we can talk. What I'm saying is, I want to book you for next Tuesday's show that we get into the ins and outs of Bangkok, and I really start peeling the John McAfee onion back unedited.
Right. You get the FCC out of my way.
So I want to book you for next Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I want to book you. I want to book you a weekend ahead, John.
Okay, I'm on. What time?
Don't be 10:30 a.m. next Tuesday.
Okay.
And don't be canceling on me, John. And I'd like to talk to your hot black wife too when we do that show.
Oh, she'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Believe me.
So
by the way, if you folks want to see what my hot black wife looks like and sounds like, just go onto YouTube and do a search for John McAfee, reality translator.
McAfee. He's 71. He's a pimp. Yeah. He's a straight pimp, Ned, is he not?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah.
Ned, next Tuesday at 10:30 on the internet show, he's going to give us the ins and outs of Bangkok. Oh, I can't wait.
Ins and outs.
You trust me, it will stun even you. I promise you.
I can't wait, John.
I was a man of the world when I first went, and I thought, okay, I'm having an acid flashback.
Maybe we could have a trip. Maybe we could have a trip. Win a trip to Bangkok with.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah,
that'd be perfect.
The ins and outs, or the John McAfee Bangkok tour.
In fact, here's the biggest problem in Bangkok. Okay, and I think it's almost insoluble. Is how to distinguish the girly boys from legitimate women, because they are just as beautiful.
You mean the TT boys? What do they call those, Ned?
Right.
T-boys?
T-boys.
T-boys.
Yeah, but they're not like, when you see them, Google them, they literally are indistinguishable.
Have you ever been tricked,
many
John,
times.
and you go back to the room and it's a T-boy?
Yes, of course.
Ned,
Okay.
this guy's you.
If you have not experienced that problem, then you're just not a real man yet. I'm sorry.
Now, John, what happens when you go back to the room and at the bar she was a beautiful woman, you go back and it's a T-boy? What do you do?
Listen, okay, it's going to depend on your mood and exactly how beautiful she was and how much you fell in love before you got her home. And
now, would you keep the T-boy around?
Pops out. Pardon?
Would you keep the T-boy around and play around a little bit?
Well, I'm not going to talk about my own personal sex.
Oh, okay. Just asking.
I am not gay, but I promise you this. The thought will go through your mind. I promise you.
Ned, you live and die by that, don't you, Ned?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ned's not gay, but there's all kinds of thought. I mean, he's on Farm Secrets. Ned, you're on Farm Secrets right now, aren't you?
Possibly.
Hey, John.
Okay.
Next
Speaking
Tuesday.
of that, by the way, look up. What is a horse? There's a site for horses.
We got to be careful on that, John. We're again. Don't forget, we got that damn FCC around here. They don't like the horse stuff. Hey, John. Next Tuesday, 10:30. We can horse it. We can T-boy it. We can do whatever you want. Okay.
Okay. Have someone email me, and because again, I'm 72. I will forget this.
Now, do you even remember? We know you've been on my show before, and I know that maybe you follow me on Twitter. Do you even know who I am?
Yes, of course I know who you are.
What?
You are the dude, man.
What's Bubba the Love Sponge?
Yes, of course I know who you are.
All right, I want to make sure.
I know a little about your history, and by the way, I've never seen the sex tape with Jesse Ventura. However, I can understand his anger if it involves sheep and boa constrictors, because seriously, that was.
Well, I didn't have a sex tape with Jesse Ventura, but that gives me one hell of an idea.
Sorry, no. What did I say, Jesse?
I'm having Jesse come over this weekend, Manson. I'm going to run some video. John,
for you.
Hey, Manson, I'm kind of the John McAfee of radio, am I not?
You kind of are.
I kind of am, John. We need to stick together.
That's why I'm on your show, okay? Because I turn down way more of these than I accept.
Well, you knew when Bubba the Love Sponge called, that's the John McAfee of regular radio, and that's the guy I need to be on.
Yeah, it's like talking to myself, and I love doing that. So
I'm 51, and well, I need to be Bubba McAfee. Manson, that's who I need to change my name, Bubba McAfee.
You're 51. I'm sorry, I've got no sympathy for you, my friend. So
that's true. It's just pathetic at this juncture. John, next Tuesday, it's going to be unedited. Balls
right.
to the wall, my friend. And
right.
now, listen, check your zillions of dollars there in the safe, and if you'd like to buy your own personal radio show, we'd love to be it. I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right, John, I'll see you next Tuesday, buddy.
All right, and wait, before I leave,
Yes.
WoodstockToWashington.com. Please, out there, especially if you're at Woodstock, and all the dreams that we had, which you saw dissolve over the years into where we stand today, please log on. $1 will get you on our list. If you show up and get arrested, we will bail your ass out and get you a lawyer. So
now John,
yeah.
I know that you got a very cynical demeanor like I do, so I can bust some balls here. We all bust balls. You know who he sounds a lot like, Manson? Mr. Drummond on Different Strokes. Does he not? You know the dad on Different Strokes, Mr. Drummond?
I don't know.
I don't watch TV. I apologize.
He was
He
just
sounds way cooler than Mr. Drummond.
That's true. Don't even look that up, John. I take that all back, my friend. I'm just being a complete dick there. John, I will talk to you next Tuesday at 10:30, okay, buddy? Unedited, uncensored, no rules, nothing.